Well, I'm delighted to be joined here by Ian and Colin, who are two of this year's Oxygen influencers. Welcome, Colin and Ian.
Welcome. Thank you very much.
Good to be here.
So, the reason you were nominated for Oxygen influencers, I think, is you both had incredibly successful, illustrious careers. Probably need no introduction, but also you're now both doing a lot of work around outreach into schools. So let's start with that. Why are you doing this? So maybe, Colin, should we come to you first?
Okay. Well, thanks, Stephen, for inviting me to be here. So I really appreciate being here. I make no secret of the fact I've reached that delicate old age in IT. I've had circa 35 years in the industry. The last 10 years, I've been reflecting an awful lot about the journey I've had, which has had a lot of highs, but there were a fair amount of challenges as well. And I really want to make it easier for tomorrow's me to be successful and effective in this industry, because I think it's an amazing industry still. So if I can do anything that helps other people learn from my experiences, then that's kind of what I'm here to do now.
Great. And Colin, obviously you've been into a load of schools, I know from talking to you in the past, but Ian, you're doing some work around raising the profile of the industry in schools and other areas. So can you tell us about what motivated you to do that?
It was an interesting journey after Wick and Nuvius. Actually, I got involved with a business opportunity I saw, which is somebody who was selling science labs for mainly primary schools, but also for secondary schools, and they were mobile. So you roll them into the classroom, and then you pull the sides up. It's got a Bunsen burner, electrics, sinks, etc. And in finding it, I also found that science was taken off Ofsted for primary schools in 2009. And as a consequence, schools had, I don't know, that makes no sense, but as a consequence, primary schools then began to use their science labs as classrooms, and then they began to de-skill some of the teaching around it. So the number of the teachers now are generalists. So I got involved with that, and not long after we got involved with it, COVID hit. But prior to that, we'd already discovered that none of the schools had any money. So interestingly, I still have quite a large stock of those I bought as part of that. And then during COVID, we started doing educative lessons, set up a charity, started doing lessons for the teachers, and discovered that, and that's when we discovered that the teachers had comparatively little knowledge around things, both at secondary schools, not quite as much at secondary schools, they're much more in the curriculum, but certainly at primary schools. So here's how the journey started. I then went, right, I need to get some money into the charity, so let's go back to the channel and try and get some people together on that to give me some money for the charity. And in coming back, I then took the message of schools don't know, nobody's ever heard of the channel, school children are completely unaware, and that led, and by the way, it was not totally unexpected, but I had hoped it would have worked otherwise, to the co-founding of Tech Channel Ambassadors. Everyone said, it's a great idea, really like it, we'd like to help you set it up. We need somebody to head it up. So I was the only person who probably didn't have a full-time job, so I was delegated by the other co-founders to do it. So hence this issue, and it's the realisation that particularly around the kids who were at 11 and 12, years 7 and 8, who self-select themselves out of IT and the IT industry because they don't like IT, they're not good coders. So although I've got interest in the STEM still, the other piece is we are losing all these other people, hence how I got involved with the schools.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you both dedicate a lot of your time to these activities. So what's been your kind of high point from those engagements that you've had, either with schools outreach, or through what you're doing with Tech Channel Ambassadors? What's been the real standout moment for you both?
Well, from my perspective, the big standout has been getting a community together inside the channel, effectively, and so many people have come forward who are doing things in schools of their own volition. So what we're trying to do is to do something in a structured way and to spread that message and to get more people to go into more schools. And it's been great, absolutely great, finding all these people who are actually doing all these things on their own without actually being part of a community and helping create a community or be part of that community that's created. It's brilliant. I love it.
And Colin, what's been the high point for you?
The high point for me is seeing the difference that you can make. I'm privileged, I'm blessed, I work really hard, but I do work for arguably one of the best VAR companies ever, right, in the organisation that I work for. I've been privileged to work for some of the best IT companies across 35 years. I don't think tomorrow's generation see the potential they have or the possibilities in front of them. Someone has to stand up and make them aware that tech, IT isn't just for geeky individuals. We now live in a world that's underpinned by digital technology. It's non-negotiable. Today's generation and future generations will be fundamentally enabled by everything to do with technology. So wouldn't it be great if that was your profession? Wouldn't it be great if that's something you focused on and gave you your income? But to Ian's point, there are many individuals who just don't see themselves in that role. So much of, I suppose, my high points are to stand up in front of somebody in a university or a school and almost say, I was sitting in the same seat that you were, and I didn't believe that this could be a career for me. But fast forward 5, 10, 20, 30 years, not only has it been a career for me, it's been one of the best experiences ever, but even more importantly, the road ahead for you looks even more exciting than the road I've been on. And that's literally the energizing and inspiration that I try and give to others, so even if they don't think it's for them, the job of myself and Ian and others is almost to say, let's decrypt that, let's break that into smaller bits and explain why there are lots of characteristics you have that you can't see right now that are almost perfect for this industry.
Yeah, definitely. And you've both had long, successful careers. You've seen the industry evolve over, at least a couple of decades. So have you seen any improvements in the industry when it comes to diversity? Maybe Colin, if I come to you first.
It's better. It's not fixed, it's not best, it's better. I'm involved in a lot of women in tech activities. I'm a dad of 2 daughters, and for as long as I've been in the IT industry, I wanted it to be fair. So I went to great steps to either energise, coach, inspire women to believe they could aim higher than they currently did. If you're capable, if you're competent, to me, there's no reason why you shouldn't apply for a role. And for many years in IT, it was a male-dominated profession. So there were women who just wouldn't have even applied. So part of my role was to make sure the door was open to you. You still have to be capable. You still will be tested and you still will get the job on merit, but the door will be open for you. So that's something I did an awful lot. So I think it's better for women now. I'm seeing more and more women in senior roles in IT. That started with more women coming into profession maybe 10 years ago, because it starts that way and then people kind of filter the way up. It still isn't necessarily great for ethnic minorities. I'm black, there's no secret on that. There still aren't enough black business leaders in IT. If more people can see me in a somewhat senior role, then they can start to believe they can too. And it'll inspire tomorrow's generation to aim higher than maybe they do today. So is it better? Yeah, it's better. Has it got a long way to go? Yeah, but I am seeing the efforts of organisations across the channel community, vendors and the broader industry try and make it a fair and well-represented industry moving forward, which is good to see.
And Ian, former chairman of Wick, illustrious distributor, over a fairly long period of time. So yes, what changes have you seen?
It's very nice the way you skipped. two decades is good for me. It's a lot more.
Well, we've talked about how many years? 30? Was it 35
40,
years?
Yeah, 40.
Yeah. So you've seen a lot of change in the industry. So how have you seen the industry change when it comes to diversity and the people in the industry?
Slowly, very slowly, and the piece that is always made it clear to me is I did a lot of work, particularly in the first 15 years, going to America, and I'd go to conferences in America and I'd come to conferences here and you'd see a few women, and you go to a conference there and you see quite a lot of women, and that was a contrast, an absolute contrast. Today it's changed, but as Colin says, both in terms of women, and overall diversity, it's still got a long way to go. And part of the problem, from my perspective, is where we pick people up from. So, of all the people I've asked about how did you get into the IT channel, 2 people said they wanted to have a career in the IT channel. 2 people. Everybody else, the great news is, everybody else has stumbled into it, and then they love it. And actually, if you look around the channel, there are very few people who come into the channel that you think, oh, they've gone away somewhere else. They don't. You come into the channel, you love it, and you stay. That's the great news. The bad news is there is absolutely no strategy behind that. So kids who are economically disadvantaged, they don't come in. So the people who are neurodiverse, they don't come in because they're self-excluding themselves at the age of 12 and 13. And so the fundamental problem we have, in my view, is that although there are moves to change things and to make things better, we're doing it from a selection of people who have fallen into the channel rather than us having a strategy to get the groups, the economically disadvantaged, more BAME, more neurodiverse, more LGBTQ+. The whole thing is more girls, and girls particularly around science, when they go to secondary schools, they select themselves out in part because the boys in the class are much more active at that point scientifically, just because they want to get involved with the experiments. They rush to the front and the girls step aside. So we've done a lot better, and we've got lots of initiatives and lots of mentoring and lots of people doing lots of good things. There's some absolutely brilliant initiatives that people are doing. So this is not knocking the people who are doing brilliant initiatives, like yourselves. You're doing some brilliant stuff, and so many other people are doing good initiatives. But effectively, we're doing good initiatives with a slightly unbalanced pool. Yeah. And we're still behind. If I go into a conference now, there are still considerably less women than men, and that's an easy marker. It's not the only marker. There's lots of other markers, but that's an easy marker. You just look at that. That's the first one everyone's trying to resolve, and it's still not resolved.
Yeah, it's actually worth saying that now I think 4 of the top 10 UK partners are female-led. Bytes, CDW, Talent, and Bell. Mm-hmm. So I think it would have been one 5 years ago. Would have been Insight. Yeah. So that's a positive sign. But now to talk about you as individuals, your careers. Now, Colin, you must have some stories to tell. Computacenter, now a £10 billion sales Goliath. It's got that culture, the famous sales jackets. So, tell me, what's it actually like being a top exec at Computacenter?
So, if only I was a top exec, right? So, I've done well in Computacenter, right? And I suppose the greatest accolade I can give to the organisation is it's allowed me to be me for 18 years. I wear a number of hats. I wear the right hat for my colleagues. I wear the right hat for my customers. I wear the right hat for my vendors and partners. And Computacenter pretty much allows me to do what's right by the organisation, the people around me. That's fantastic. It's a work hard, play hard company. It's well known for that. It always has been. It hasn't changed. But what I have seen over the last decade, go back, probably the last 15 years, is a realisation that tomorrow's Computacenter will be built based on today's individuals and the ones coming behind. So there's been a conscious, almost to Ian's point, there's been a conscious decision to widen the pool of individuals who join Computacenter. So in other words, it's no longer from a select community, or if your network or support system point you in the right direction. We now open our doors across London, across the country, via internships, via apprenticeships, via placements, pretty much to say, if you've got the right desire, if you're capable, if you're competent, if you like to go on a journey, you're going to have to work hard to become the person that you probably can't see quite yet, we're here for you. That's changed massively in the time I've been here. So I do a lot of work on our various programs. And when I stand in front of many of them as the old person in front of the room, where they go, oh my God, their eyes glaze over. and I pretty much tear up that rule book and say, I sat where you sat. I wouldn't still be here all these years if the company didn't fuel me the way it does now, as it did 15 years ago. So it's a great company, but be under no illusion. It's a company where you have to work hard to realise your success there.
Yeah, definitely. And Ian, I think most people would associate you a lot with Wick Hill and what you did at Wick Hill. So reflecting on the success you had there, you joined forces with, was it Nuvius, a few years back. Do you think now, looking back on it, you sold at the right time?
Yes, I did. We'd reached the point after many years of doing things. And by the way, just to start off on this, I fell into the IT industry like everybody else. I helped somebody buy some shares in Wick Hill, and then eventually grew into buying everybody else out and having a great team. But in terms of selling, we had reached the point after many years and a lot of tribulations and a few international adventures. We had a partnership with Norwegian Telecom. We had an offices in France, but actually our operations in the UK and Germany, where we had great teams, had got to be in both territories. We got to be tall poppies, and in terms of talking to vendors, the kind of vendors we wanted to talk to, they were now looking for EMEA-wide coverage, and let's put this probably as delicately as I can, my interest in sitting around a table with country managers across Europe wasn't really very strong.
So you don't miss it too much?
Oh no, the last thing I could do in terms of that was to go to be dealing with international managers, trying to make things happen. I had enough, and I had a great team in Germany, but even there, when you say, let's take this different product to market and let's grow the market for it, and they go, I'm not sure that people want that, and I go, yeah, I know, that's why we need to tell people they want it. Let's try and take them down that journey. And having gone around that issue, particularly in our operation with France, it just didn't excite me. So for the company, for the team, rather than, I'm not somebody that wants to build a lifestyle business. I like the growth. I like that challenge. I like the taking products to market and creating markets for them. I didn't want to stop and have a lifestyle business just for the UK and Germany, and for the team, the opportunity for them was to actually get involved with an international business and to get involved with the vendors that we were now looking to take on board. So no, I think the timing was pretty close to what I wanted to do.
No, great. And can the two of you tell us more about what you have planned for the next 12 months? Ian, maybe if I start with you.
Tech channel ambassadors, that's the key piece. We're driving that forward. We've got a lot of ambassadors signed up. We've got more ambassadors to be signing up. We're driving that forward now. My hope, no, let's cut to the chase. My goal is for it to go viral, so that we have ambassadors going in every region and all the major towns, and particularly to disadvantaged schools. So we have a list of the disadvantaged schools across the UK, but also to go and visit these schools and to take the message to schools to kids that there's the opportunities in the IT channel. And as part of that, and it's this is the piece that's probably slightly more problematic, but it's in the reality. The piece is we want people to go in and talk to year 7 and 8. Those are the people who are making their career decisions early and choosing their GCSEs. However, once you've gone into those, then you need to you've engaged with the school. Then you want to go back to that school and start to bring yourself out some apprentices and work experience from the later years, the 6th form, the 5th form. So that's the key goal. Alongside that, I need to get some more money into the charity, and I need to get that money in, because actually what we want to do, and I'll be talking with you about this later, what we want to do is to get more of the mobile workstations out into schools. As I said, I've got a stock room full of them, and I'd like to get them out into schools so that people can get involved in the excitement of them, particularly while I'm on this pitch, particularly because the mobile workstations have got Bunsen burners. And we know when you talk to kids, and all the research shows when you talk to kids, when you get them involved with some really, really straightforward experiments and Bunsen burners, they get really excited. So we want to do some STEM work there and drive that forward. and then from the sidelines, I'm doing some mentoring, and we've got a business opportunity. But that's both of those are bylines.
You're going to be busy. You'll be busy then. And Colin, what about you?
So I want to do what Ian's doing, which is start. But outside of that, I didn't think I'd ever see a time in IT that was more exciting than some of the previous times before. And we always went into this old wise person thing. You never saw the internet. You never saw the dawn of x86. And we always kind of said, you'll never see what we saw. I've changed my view on that. I think we now have a line in the sand moment. Dare I say it, we've been for 25 minutes and I mentioned AI, but I'm going to mention it. AI is going to fundamentally change our professional careers, society, humanity, and everything else in between forevermore. In the same way that 30 plus years ago, the dawn of the x86 world transformed IT and gave me a career, gave Ian a career, gave many people a career. I see now that happening now with AI, but a lot of people don't realise it. So we've actually got existing people in the workforce that need to reinvent to make themselves relevant for the future. We've got tomorrow's workforce that doesn't realise just how important AI is and AI dexterity and be able to augment human capabilities of AI. They don't realise that yet. So I did a lot of study for the last 6 years, finished that, and that was a lot about understanding your professional identity and what's required to be effective in the future. So this year I'll be having more and more conversations about the need for all of us to reinvent, to be AI ready and to maximise the potential of AI. Still lots and lots of stuff. It's a great pleasure for me to go into a university or a school and speak to people about the fact I didn't come from a wonderful rose-tinted view of the world. I didn't come from a somewhat Ivy League view of the world. I worked really, really hard, and I've come out with my little doctor badge as a indication of hard work and lots of effort. So that's still good. I'm doing some charity trustee work. When you've been in business for a long time, you can often be a good sounding board for people in charities and stuff like that to give them a flinch test on what's going on. And through all of it, there's a lot of people that I still mentor. A lot of them come and find me on LinkedIn, which is really nice. And if there's anything I can say to somebody so they can benefit from mistakes I've made, or just have someone who's maybe not a family member or work colleague to bounce something off in a safe environment, then that works for me. So yeah, busy year, and long may it continue that way.
Great. And so finally, we did ask a couple of more playful questions in Oxygen Influencers. One of them was, what would be your walk-on song? So Colin, I think you said anything by Earth, Wind and Fire.
Oh yeah, that's definitely the case.
Do you remember?
Yeah, without a doubt.
Remember? And Boogie Wonderland, I think.
Boogie Wonderland or September, definitely.
And I don't think we've ever had two more contrasting genres. Ian, you went for Always Look on the Bright Side of Life.
Yeah.
So, who has the best walk-on song, do you think?
That's mine.
So Ian said he's going to sing his.
You've never heard me sing. Actually, not many people have. To be more to the point, just to drop off on that one, I was the only person in our school who was genuinely banned from the choir.
Oh, wow.
They had quartered the choir, found the voice, or not the voice. They then beat me, and I went, and then said, sing again, and I sang again, and they beat me again, and then I went, look, this is not a joke, this is my voice. So no, you don't want to hear me sing.
Yeah.
You don't want to hear me sing anything. Never mind, Always Look on the Bright Side. Yeah.
Well, in that case, we'll have to declare it a heat.
Yes, it's a dead heat.
But thank you, on that note, thank you so much, the two of you, for joining us today. We really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for the
opportunity. Thank you very much, Doug.
Thank you.
It's great to be here.